In the near future, a series of meteorite crashes occur in Australia, releasing a highly contagious virus that turns people into zombies. The virus spreads rapidly through the air, though only individuals with blood type A can be infected through a bite. Chaos ensues as people across the region succumb to the virus, resorting to savage violence. A group of scientists collaborates with the military to develop a cure, conducting experiments on survivors like Brooke, who manages to escape and becomes a hybrid, with the ability to control zombies telepathically. In the forest, sisters Maxie and Grace encounter Brooke attacking soldiers. Grace is bitten, but is calmed by a vial of blood given by Barry. Despite this, Grace remains suspicious and shoots an arrow before leaving with Maxie. Meanwhile, Reese begins his day at his base, taking antiviral medicine and gearing up for defense against the zombie threat. He faces a zombie attack, but manages to maintain control over his base by using zombies to power his machinery. Later, he responds to a military message about a potential catch, capturing a hybrid and taking him to the military bunker for research. The Surgeon General reveals they've located Brooke and tasks Reese with capturing her. Meanwhile, Grace and Maxie flee, but Grace's bite leads to her transformation into a zombie. Maxie calms her with blood and tries to escape, but their car is attacked by Reese, who captures Grace and unknowingly leaves Maxie behind. In the lab, it's uncovered that the Surgeon General inflicts severe harm on his experiment subjects. He electrocutes a woman and then extracts fluids from her nose, injecting them into himself to stall his transformation into a zombie. The Colonel and another soldier catch him in the act, but the Colonel, also infected, reveals they're working together for a cure. Meanwhile, Reese drives away, and Grace, awakening, briefly loses control before calming down with a blood vial. Reese realizes she's a hybrid and knocks her out. They arrive at the lab, where Grace resists capture until subdued and calmed with another vial. Reese encounters trouble with his truck's fuel zombie, eventually luring another one to power his vehicle. Unbeknownst to him, Maxie sneaks into his truck. At an army warehouse, Reese picks up a package for the lab, and Grace wakes to discover the gruesome fate of the test subjects. The surgeon's hand attacks him, prompting him to extract more fluids for an injection. Later in the afternoon, Reese heads back to his base, tossing out meat to distract the zombies crowding his fence. He uses bright lights to deter them further before finally entering his home. Inside, he opens a mysterious delivery box and discovers a strange device. Planning to unwind, he sets up a relaxation tape, but a sudden power outage interrupts his relaxation. Reese rushes to fix the generator, and upon returning to his room, is ambushed by Maxie, who demands to be taken to Grace. The next morning, Reese finds himself tied up and facing Maxie's weapon, coerced into driving her to the lab. Seizing an opportunity, Reese ejects Maxie from the truck and subdues her before continuing to the lab. There, he confronts the surgeon's atrocities and faces off against the Colonel's threats. Grace witnesses these events on the lab's security cameras as Reese is chased by an army truck. With Maxie's help, Reese evades the soldiers but faces a dangerous standoff with the Colonel. Left to be consumed by zombies, Reese is saved by Maxie's intervention, only to awaken as a captive in Barry's base. Despite tensions, Barry spares Reese due to Maxie's plea, but Reese agrees to work for them under Brooke's coercion. The following day, the group heads to the warehouse, where Reese divulges all he knows about their security setup. He expresses his ignorance about the subjects being killed, expressing regret for bringing them to the lab. Barry intervenes when Brooke becomes too aggressive, calming her with a vial of blood. Utilizing her power, Brooke manipulates a zombie connected to the machine gun, causing it to eliminate the guards at the front door. Inside, the group swiftly apprehends the workers with zombie assistance, shocking Reese when he discovers a man he had brought earlier inside a barrel. Enraged, Reese assaults a scientist for information, horrified to learn about the gruesome process of making antiviral medicine from the extracted fluids. In a fit of disgust, Reese shoots the scientist and confronts Barry, demanding to storm the lab and eradicate everyone. Soon after, the team arrives at the lab, disguising Brooke as a prisoner and sending zombies through the tunnel shuttle as decoys. Brooke manipulates the zombies inside to attack the guards before triggering grenades. Maxie, armed with a machine gun, joins the fray as the team eliminates the soldiers. Observing this on security cameras, the Colonel attempts to seal the front door, but Barry jams the mechanism. The team dispatches zombies laden with grenades to clear the path inside. Maxie infiltrates through the tunnel shuttle, while Brooke, Barry, and Reese breach the front door. Inside, they encounter a trap set by the surgeon, who unleashes a formidable cyborg zombie controlled by a device he wears. Despite Brooke's efforts, the cyborg overwhelms her until Grace steps in, using her power to control the surgeon's hand and disable the cyborg momentarily. However, the surgeon retaliates by electrocuting Grace, rendering her unconscious as the cyborg restrains Brooke against the wall. Meanwhile, the Colonel arrives with Maxie as his captive, forcing Barry and Reese to disarm. After striking Maxie and shooting Barry, who remains alive but in agonizing pain, Reese reactivates the cabinet to strike the Colonel. Engaging in hand-to-hand combat, Reese and the Colonel exchange blows until the Colonel uses the cabinet to overpower Reese. Despite Barry's attempt to reach his weapon, the Colonel intervenes. Barry intervenes again by activating the cabinet, pushing the Colonel away. Undeterred, the Colonel persists, but Brooke disables the cyborg by electrocuting it, plunging the area into darkness. In the confusion, Maxie eliminates the Colonel while the team regroups with Brooke, who has become unstable and attacks Maxie. Seeking safety, Maxie retreats into a cage as the others seal the corridor. Discovering cracked blood vials, they find a refrigerator filled with blood bags. Despite their efforts, Brooke manages to bite Barry before Maxie calms her down with a blood bag. Continuing onward, they encounter the surgeon fleeing in the tunnel shuttle with Grace. A grenade planted by the surgeon explodes, injuring the team severely but miraculously causing no fatalities. On the surveillance footage, Reese observes the surgeon departing with reinforcements, but suddenly the screens go dark, signaling the initiation of the self-destruct sequence as all doors lock. With only 30 seconds remaining, Barry begins to succumb to the infection, prompting Brooke to devise a plan. She links Barry to the computer and ushers Reese and Maxie into the tunnel shuttle, activated by Barry's breath. They narrowly escape as the lab detonates, claiming Barry and Brooke. Meanwhile, the surgeon and his cohorts raid Reese's base in search of the device. They restrain Grace to a table and connect the device to both her and the surgeon's nostrils, transferring Grace's blood directly to him. Suspicions arise when a soldier notices the surgeon's bite, but it's too late. He transforms into a hybrid and eliminates the soldiers upon Reese and Maxie's arrival. While Maxie mourns her sister, the surgeon ambushes Reese, engaging him in a brutal fight. Despite the surgeon's taunts, Reese is ultimately rescued by Grace, who dispatches the surgeon with her hybrid abilities. As Grace calms down, Reese contemplates his actions, discarding the medicine. Maxie urges him to take it, believing he can atone for his sins by aiding others. Reese accepts, ready to join the fight against the apocalypse.